Shit. I don't have an intro.
We don't. Maybe we should come up with something.
We'll do it later. Hi, I'm Stelios.
I'm Lila, and we want to talk about Black Panther. First of all, right off the bat, this is going to be chock full of spoilers. So, if you have not yet seen Black Panther in theaters, go see it. What's wrong with you? Pause this podcast right now. Go see it. Go see the movie. Go see it twice.
Buy merchandise.
Buy some sweet merchandise, and then come back, sit down, turn this podcast back on, and hear us out, and then tell us what you think down there in the comments, or send us a message.
Yeah.
We want to hear what you have to say.
So we're going to give y'all a minute to do that. And by a minute, I mean we're going to start talking about this now.
Yeah, so, this is the end of the spoiler alert. Spoilers from here on out. Okay, so, Black Panther. It was written and directed by this guy, Ryan Coogler. And I remember you were a little bit skeptical at first when we heard about it, because he doesn't have a whole lot of big stuff under his belt yet. He did something called Fruitvale Station?
Fruitvale Station. Fruitvale Station had a pretty substantial budget, but it only made $16 million in the box office, and it was a more conscious movie, and I did actually end up watching bits and pieces of Fruitvale Station, and it wasn't bad. It wasn't a bad film at all.
Yeah.
I just think a lot of people slept on it, which tells me that the director is indeed talented. He does have skill. Mm-hmm. This is also the same guy that done Creed.
Yes, he did Creed, and that was also his film with Michael B. Jordan.
Correct.
Michael B. Jordan, who actually played the son of Apollo Creed in that one? Yes. I wonder if that's where Michael B. Jordan got the role for Killmonger in Black Panther. I know he had applied for other roles in earlier films and was turned down.
Tell you what, it's damn sure a good bounce back from Fantastic Four. Damn.
Yeah, he's actually one of the few that have done that, where he played two different roles so back to back. I don't think the new, quote unquote, new Fantastic Four movies actually considered part of the MCU.
It's not, but actually there are two actors I can think of that have done that. There's Chris Evans, who we also know as Captain America. And there's Michael B. Jordan, who we know as Eric Killmonger, but both of them played Johnny Storm in the Fantastic Four movies. I'm convinced the Fantastic Four is cursed.
It's gotta be. Well, either way, so yeah, we had Michael B. Jordan. He played the villain, Eric Killmonger. We had Chadwick Boseman coming back as T'Challa. I think he did a really good job.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely impressed with his performance as T'Challa. Very solid character arc. But that's the thing that I want to say first off about Black Panther is you don't have to like it just because it's this, banner movie, then you're not allowed to like it, and if you don't like it, it's because you're racist. Okay, if you don't like Black Panther because it's got, quote, too many black people in it, end quote, yes, you are racist, and I don't want to talk to you. Well, actually, I wouldn't mind trying to talk with you, but, either way... it was a legitimately good movie. It wasn't just hitting all the good points of quality that we've come to expect from Marvel movies at this point, but it was good. It had the stunning visuals. It had the intense action and the choreography, and all that was spaced by these appropriate bits of comedy that didn't feel out of place. They fit. And it had a solid plot. It had well-developed characters. It was very solid.
I was a big fan of the colors.
Oh my gosh, the colors. Very, very colorful movie. You remember back in Defenders on Netflix?
Yes.
That, anyone who hasn't seen that is the meshing of 4 different series. Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and Iron Fist finally come together to defend New York. And each character has their own color scheme. Jessica Jones is blue, and sometimes a little purple, depending on what's going on with her at the time. A few hints at that. That's in her backstory. Luke Cage is solidly yellow. Iron Fist is green, and of course Daredevil is red. And we kind of saw some of that same playing with colors, where each tribe in Wakanda kind of has its own color scheme. Like the River Tribe was very much shells and green, and the Border Tribe was blue. Was it the Mining Tribe or Merchant Tribe? There was 2 other tribes that were red, and then
I think the Mining Tribe was white. Those were the guys that had the Bedouin-like look.
A little bit. I'd have to look again. I'm definitely gonna look again.
Oh, but... Or are you saying you want to go see the movie again?
At some point, yeah. And we're definitely gonna own it. But just the details and all of the costumes and all of the work that went into pulling from African sources and tribes for the costumes and the music, and just all of it was just this beautiful world they put together. So vibrant and alive.
Unlike the DCU, who thinks everything has to be gray and washed out,
sad,
drab,
gritty, smog. Our cities are polluted, and we're angry about it.
Yeah. I'm throwing shade at you, Justice League.
So, I think we should take a moment to talk real quick about Black Panther. I mean, leading up to its release, people were being kind of weird about why are African Americans in the United States flocking to this movie like it's a big banner. Well, first of all, they rightly should. It's an awesome movie, and 2, just from what I think it is important because the movie is unapologetically African. It is unapologetically black. It's got a majority black cast. It's got 2 white guys in the movie.
Yeah. Who were both in Lord of the Rings, by the way.
Yeah. Well, actually, if you stayed all the way through to the end of the credits, like you should for Marvel, if you leave before the lights come on, shame on you. You know there's actually a 3rd white guy.
Yeah.
But we're not going to talk about that yet.
Speaking of Lord of the Rings, because both the guy who plays Bilbo Baggins and the guy who plays Gollum are both in this movie. To black people, this movie, for all intents and purposes, is our Lord of the Rings. And the reason why I say that is because this is a high fantasy, big budget, epic movie with a predominantly black cast made by a black director. It basically shows that yes, we can have these movies that don't necessarily have to be urban fantasies
or about basketball
or sports
or about a single mother winning against the world.
Yeah,
I mean, those are important stories to tell in many ways, but this wasn't that story.
We can have these epic fantasy movies and we can make them work, and more importantly, we can integrate our cultures into these movies and make it believable. So I would love to see more high fantasy African influenced movies.
Definitely.
It can be done and it can succeed.
So I guess Martin Freeman, who is the guy that played Agent Everett Ross, he's also the guy that I believe played was he the guy who played?
He played Bilbo Baggins.
I think he played. Either way, when he was asked what it felt like to be one of the only few non-black actors on the set, he said, "You think this is what black actors feel like all the time?" And he's right.
Yeah.
Like, oh gosh, this is what it feels like to be the only one in the room that looks different.
Yeah. And another thing is, I grew up reading comic books. I grew up reading Batman, I grew up reading Superman, and the first time I saw a black superhero that had their own book, it was Spawn. And Spawn was a super, super dark story. So dark that I had to buy these on the low because my parents were good old church folk.
Didn't they burn your D&D books?
Yeah, but that's another video.
That is such a waste of money.
That's another video. But, the thing is, young black kids didn't really have that iconic superhero that they can look at and say, that's a superhero and they look like me. And now with Black Panther, they do, and it's not somebody's sidekick like Steel was to Superman or Falcon was to Captain America. Now I know Falcon is Captain America now. I get that, but let's be real. He started as a sidekick.
Yeah, and that's another thing about Black Panther that is so important, is it is a hero that is, like I said, organically and unapologetically African. It's not the black sidekick that gets to put on the extra suit. You know, nothing against Rhodey. He's awesome. Love War Machine. I wish that there had been more War Machine in the movies, but
I love Don Cheadle. Fuck you, Terrence Howard.
Oh, but you know, the point being that it's not handed to him. He has it all of his own, and that's one of the great things about Wakanda is it's this organic African world superpower, and I think that's an important thing in this culture. Anyway, and the other thing is that Black Panther wasn't a catering movie. Like, oh, let's make a movie about the black character. They'll like that. No. It was relevant. All the things that happened in Black Panther, plot-wise, are important to the whole plot arc with Infinity Wars, right?
Right.
I mean, that's all going to make a big difference. Well, we're coming up on about the 12-minute mark here, so we're going to take a break, and we'll be right back in part 2 of Let's Talk About Black Panther with Stelios and Lila.